Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and this is Andy255, and this is Module 11. And we're going to be creating a dress. So let's go ahead and get a subject. We need a mannequin of some kind. So we had done this in Module 10, where we found just a regular man. We're going to go ahead and create a woman. We'll find a woman mesh that we can use. So let's go ahead and click on this guy right here, the content browser, and let's go into that guy. This looks like a cup with a butterfly coming out. So click on modeling, sculpting, bases, go to bipeds, and we've got a choice of this character right here, character female. So let's go ahead and move that off to the side and just drag and drop that into the workspace. There we go. Okay, so this, we're going to work in feet this time instead of meters. And I kind of found out from the last module that it's kind of the cloth is, how it simulates is kind of between meters and feet. And so I'm just going to work in feet, so let's go down here and preferences and go from centimeters to foot and save it, and go to the time slider now. Before we do anything else, make sure you set up for simulation. Okay, go ahead and save, and that's it. Basically she's all set up. And before I forget, I'm just going to go ahead and add a floor plane here. And since we're not really simulating, I don't think the simulation will get to the floor. So I'm just going to go ahead and select that, just kind of scale that up, and go into the attributes of this and go 1 to 1. We just need to have something that she can look like she's stepping on instead of being in space there. And so she's good where she's at. So the idea here is we're going to create clothing, a dress for the character. I could go in here and create a cylinder and it just won't look right. So there's a couple challenges here. We have to have something that's going to hang well on the character, okay? And that's a super big challenge for whenever you do things like this. So there's a couple things we got to do. So what we're going to do is we're just going to create a dress by extruding and extracting and retopologizing, and so we've got a lot of work to do. So let's get started. And I need to duplicate this. Control D, duplicate, and put that in a layer. That's super important. We need to have 2 layers here. We need to have 2 versions of this. So this will be, we'll call this duplicate. We're going to need that. Okay, there we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is select the character, and I'm going to delete by type history. I'm going to center pivot and delete any transforms I have on it. Okay, that's really important. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and start selecting the vertices or the faces that I want. So I'm going to go to face mode, go to the front. Okay, and let's go ahead and just find out where we want our selection to be. So I can either, I'm going to hit the 4 key so I can see through the character, and that sometimes is hard to see. So how about if we paint? Let's do that. Let's go ahead and paint this, the selection that we want. Hold the shift key down, just kind of paint. Let's go ahead and do the outline here of what we want. Okay, in the front. Okay, we don't want that, so I'm going to go control back, Z back that. There we go. And so that's a good start. Now the characters, it's really hard to see. The character's flesh colored, which is great, but it makes it's super hard to see what we're doing. So I'm going to do something that was going to be easy, and then we can bring back the flesh. Okay, so I'm going to go back into here. I'm going to add another assign new material. This one's going to be a Lambert. Okay, and I'm going to make that black. Okay, so this is just black, or just a dark gray. That's the idea. Is just do dark gray. There we go. Alright, so this makes it a lot easier for me to make selections. Now I can see that selection really easily. So let's go ahead and go back into the front. And let's go with what we had before. Okay, so alright, hold the shift key down and just kind of select these faces that you want. And we're going to go down to this part right here, kind of follow that. And then we're going to go down to the waist here and up and around. Okay, alright, great. So now we've got that. Let's go ahead and wrap that around, just kind of get the rest of this up and around. And this may not set right. So let's go and skip over here and go up. Click on this one and go up and around like that. Okay, and we'll do the same thing with this one here. And we'll kind of go down to that part, down and around, and just kind of skip that. Here we go. Alright, so let's go back here like that. Alright, so we're going to go around the back here from where we were at, like that. Okay, we may use this part or not. I'm not sure what we're going to do with this yet. There we go. And so then let's go up one more around with this. And the rest is pretty easy. Go back into selection mode. You can hit the Q key too if you want to. And at this point, we're pretty close. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hold my Control-Shift key and just marquee select now from this way all the way up. Now I'm going to grab some stuff accidentally, or I can do, instead of doing that, I can do the selection key here. Okay, marquee selection. Okay, I'm going to hold the Control and Shift key and Control and Shift key together, and I'm going to kind of select now. This will make it a little easier for me. There we go. I'm going to do another selection right there. I'm holding the Control and Shift key so it selects everything. Let's go to the back and see what we got there, and that looks pretty good. Now I'm not going to have an open back like that, so I'm going to go ahead and select these last two by holding the Shift key like that and just rotating around. Okay. Now we can make changes to this if we want to, but right now I kind of like the way it is. I know that's kind of janky right there. Don't like that, so we might have to make some changes there. We'll see what we can do with that and how we can work it in. Okay, right. So with that, okay, let's go ahead and extract. So that's the first thing we're going to do, is extract. So hold down your space bar, go to Edit Mesh. No, that's not. Yeah, that is it. Edit Mesh and extract. Okay, there we go. That's the first thing. We no longer need the other shell, so go ahead and delete that. And that's the shell we're going to work with right here. This is what we're going to be working with from now on. Hit the F key to kind of be able to focus around it. And you can put the floor in a layer if you want to. Just go ahead and go into selection tool and create a new layer for the floor. And there we go. And save it. And we'll just turn that off. Okay, and the grid's even getting in the way unless you want to have it in there. Okay, so there's a lot of things we need to do with this to make this work. So first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the row here, this row. This is no good. It's not going to work for me. So I'm going to go to these faces here and just double click on it and see if we can get rid of all those. Okay, to get rid of those, I delete those, and then I'm going to go across here. Actually, I can just take this edge like there, right here. Make sure I don't select anything else, and do a Control E and hit the W key and move that down like that. And then I'm going to go to selection mode, and go and hold down the shift key and my right mouse button, go to target weld, and I'm going to click on this, and it's still in face mode, so I'm going to right click over it and go to vertex mode and just kind of weld those together. Okay, and I'm going to do a little trick here, and getting all these, it's really important I get all these edges or these vertices aligned properly. So I'm going to go to this mode here and hit the Q key, and that gets out of that mode, the weld mode. And I'm going to select the very bottom pieces, or the vertices on the bottom here. I'm going to hit the 4 key so I can see through and get all of them. And let's go into the selection mode. Okay, and I'm just going to select these bottom ones like that. There we go, perfect. And I'm going to hit the Q key and the W key, and then I'm going to double click on the tool itself over here, double click on it, and we're going to go to retain component spacing, make sure that's turned off. Okay, and so when you turn that off, that allows you to do what I'm just going to do. It's a little tip and trick that I learned through the years. I'm going to snap and align all those vertices at once instead of doing it one at a time. Snap it, and then turn grid snap off up here, move them back, and we've got a nice perfect row. Okay, alright, so I'm not too worried about this other row in the back. Okay, so that looks great. That's going to be our first start of our dress. So the bottom of our dress anyway. So let's click on that and let's move that backwards. Okay, and so let's move this point backwards a little bit. Okay, and this, so we don't get the curvature right there. Just kind of pulling that out and getting that defaulted out. Okay, there, it looks good. And same thing with the front. We don't want to go in too much here, so we want to go ahead and move that around. So we're just getting kind of things straightened out here. Move that back a little bit and move this one over a little bit. Okay, so I'm just moving things and trying to equalize the way that looks. We don't have anything pushing in too far. Okay, that looks pretty good. Alright, this part here is no good. We've got this like gap right here. And so what I need to do is just kind of get these normalized. So I'm going to hit the scale key and just scale that in, and scale it out a little bit, or move it out a little bit. So move that out, just kind of get that looking a little bit better. And then this here, we can take this and extrude that edge. Okay, and I'm going to do that, extrude, Control E, and just do with the green arrow here. And the first thing I'm going to do is let's go ahead and go into vertex mode. Alright, I'm going to have to go into selection mode to get the weld, target weld. So let's get the target weld up. So shift, right mouse button, target weld, and I'm going to target weld this point right here to this one, and I'm going to target weld this one to this one. So we have a nice, we have a triangle. It's okay. It's not going to hurt anything, not with cloth. And so I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Okay, hit the Q key to get out of that tool, and we're going to go to edge, click on the edge, Control E, extrude, and then I'm going to go in here to selection mode, hit the Q key again, and go to target weld. Right click over this, go to vertex mode, and go from here to here, and from here to here. Alright, awesome. So I'm welding, getting all that together. And I don't really like that so much right here, so I can hit the Q key again and just move that in. I'm just moving vertices around. Vertices are a real problem. So I'm just going to move those around. And let's go into component mode with this. Let's go back into reset the tool. I'm going to go from world to component, and it's not wanting to slide where I want it to slide, so I'm going to go to normal, find the normal, and it's still having a hard time finding it. So let's go to custom and let's slide it along the edge. So I need to find that edge. There we go. Slide it along the edge. There we go, like that. That'll work for me. Okay. Let's just move that around. There we go. Do the same thing with this guy right here. Slide it along the edge of that. Perfect. Alright, so I'm happy with that. Good to go. Alright, select it. Okay, we're good so far. So we're doing pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here. And so I'm going to reset everything. I showed you how to get to this point, and we're doing pretty good. Not too bad. And now we're going to go to, let's go ahead and open up the duplicate so we can see what we have so far. We need to make some changes. We will. So let's go ahead and save what we have so far. Okay, save scene as, and I'm going to type in something new, and let's do new here, 01. Okay, I'm going to put in module 10 on here, so I know I'm working with you guys. I've done all this other work, and I'll show you what I had ended up with in just a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. Make sure I save it so I can come back to it. And what did I end up with? So I'll show you. Open the scene and sim start new sim step retopology. Let's show you that. Okay, so this is what I ended up with. Okay, and that's what we're heading towards. Okay, really nice retopoed cloth and a dress, and we've got that little triangle here. It didn't cause any problems. It's okay, and that's good. That's what we're hoping to get to this point, because it kind of conforms to the body still. Okay, if you'd had a cylinder, that would be very difficult to do. Okay, so we want to kind of do that. Alright, with that said, we'll stop the video and we'll come back and we'll continue modeling the clothing.